Hey, welcome back to the Black and Gold Standard podcast. And today we want to finish our series going on the top free agents in each position. And today um, we're going to talk about the wide receivers and tight ends, which the Pittsburgh Steelers should be a buyer in the wide receiver um, free agent market. I think the Steelers probably need at least three more receivers. So either they're going to sign two free agents, draft one, or draft two and sign one free agent. But I definitely think their number two receiver is going to come out of a free agent signing. And I earhold a couple of guys that I'd like to see. I think that they match up well or complement DJ Metcalf, and you're gonna have to pay them, but these guys won't totally break the bank because you already got a $30 million receiver, so you don't want to have two of them. So I think these guys you're gonna have to pay them a pretty nickel. But I don't think you need to get up to that 30 million, $35 million range. Hey, how you doing, Yolanda? Um, I mean, it's one of them out there that you would have to get to that range, but you know, we'll 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 talk about it. We'll talk about it. But as of right now, let's get right into it. And number one guy on the board is George Pickens. Now, I don't think Pickens is going to make it to really be out on the market. I think the Cowboys are definitely going to franchise him, and then they're going to have to deal with that situation of do he want to play on a franchise tag, or does he hold out and try to get that long term deal. Me personally, I don't even think the Cowboys. I don't know the receiver franchise tag got at least be, man, it's probably close to $30 million. So I don't really know what the Cowboys going to do with that situation. Um, all said and done, I understand why the Steelers did what they did, but at the end of the day, they blew it. This is a trade that they basically traded one of the best receivers in the NFL for a third round pick. So at the end of the day, the Steelers they lost this deal. Like I say, I kind of get what they probably was thinking. I think Mike Tomlin probably had it with him, but also it, it was kind of a thing on both sides. First of all, let's go to Pickens. Yeah, you and I get it. I I get it because receivers, I don't care of what level you coach at, high school, um, college, and obviously the pros. Receivers are different because it's a position where you're totally relying on the scheme that you're playing in. So are you playing in the scheme that even throw the ball? That's the first thing. And secondly, are you playing in a scheme that's getting you open and giving you opportunities? And then more importantly, are you playing with with a quarterback that can deliver you the ball? So you got to deal with that. Every play, if you play the game the way it's supposed to be played, every play you're running. Even when you're getting the ball, when you're not getting the ball, you're running. It's a sprint every play. So it's one of those situations where you kind of like, hey man, I'm sitting here doing this. I want the rock. And nowadays with these guys, they're immature, which Pickens was. They're immature and they don't know how to handle those type situations. So when they're not getting the ball, they're going to act out. They're going to act out, and unfortunately, that's what Pickens did. Not saying it's right, but you have to understand when you get, especially when you have a stud receiver like that, you have to feed these guys the ball. You have to keep these guys involved in the offense, because the first time that they feel like they're not being involved in the offense, and then but yet you're asking them to go out here every play and block and run and basically be a decoy out there. These guys are going to get pissed off and they're not going to perform for you and they're going to act up. When Pickens went to Dallas, for the most part, no problem. No problem. He went out there, did what he had to do. He was getting the ball. They got involved, and you see the type talent that he is. And that's why, we always say that the Steelers are good for getting crash out wide receivers. Yeah, in a way they were, but part of it was the offense. The offense is just is not. Those guys see it. Those guys see it. Like 2 years ago, the Steelers played the Cincinnati Bengals, and well, Russell Wilson basically just went rogue, and he started calling his own plays and calling his own number, and he threw for 500 yards against the Bengals because the Bengals defense was terrible. But then the next time he played, Tomlin, he took more reign of the offense, and the Steelers tried to run the ball where they were really not even good at running the ball, and didn't throw the ball. And so like I say, these receivers now, they these young guys, I say, they're going to act out, and basically that's what happened. But at the end of the day, the Pittsburgh Steelers, um, they they lost this trade. You had one of the top receivers in the league. Here go Pickens' numbers. Here go his numbers here. Um, 93 receptions for 1,400 yards, a 15.4 average, 9 touchdowns, 45-yard long. And if I'm not mistaken, I would definitely make the Pro Bowl, but I think he was all pro. And to me, um, especially now, the way the Pro Bowl is, but when you go all pro, that's your peers. That's your peers voting. So that's players that's also part of that voting. And it's just flat out. The Steelers lost that deal. But so Pickens is not part of this equation because, like I say, I don't think bringing him back would be an option. And then I don't think the Cowboys are gonna even let him see the market. I think they're gonna franchise him, and then they're gonna deal with that fallout because that will be a fallout as far as that goes. All right, the number two guy here. Depending on what you need. Now, a lot of people think this should be a target for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Me personally, I don't believe so because he's basically DK Metcalf. He's a younger DK Metcalf, but he's basically DK Metcalf. This is a down the field guy. This Pierce is not a guy that's going to basically run routes and open up things underneath. I mean, well, he will open up things underneath, but he's not going to be the underneath receiver and running whip routes and all that type of stuff. That's not his game. Now, his game is going to be running crossers because he's fast. He got good speed. Running crossers, running deep ends, um, and then also obviously going down the field, running go routes. That's his game. But guess what? That's DK Metcalf game. That's what you want DK Metcalf for. Now DK Metcalf, bigger body, so you can kind of put him in the slot sometimes and run slants to him because DK is a bigger guy. But Pierce and DK Metcalf is what's up Dwayne, how you doing? Um DK Metcalf is basically and Pierce is basically the same guy. And Pierce is going to cost. Pierce is going to cost because, to be honest, like I say, they're the same guy. So I think from a baseline standpoint, if I'm Pierce, I'm asking for the contract at minimum what DK Metcalf just signed because to me they're the same guy. They're the same guy. So when we look at his numbers, get to his numbers, um, his numbers prove that he's a down the field guy. 47 receptions for 1,000 yards, a 21.3 average per catch, 6 touchdowns, long of 66. So I just think him and Metcalf give you the same thing. And like I say, if I'm Pierce, I'm actually using DK Metcalf's contract as a starting point. I'm because to me, I'm going to say me and him is the same guy. I mean, I'm fast. I'm 6'3". Now, like I say, DK is much bigger than him. Just physically bigger than him. But as far as what they do on the field, they do the same thing. So, um, again, that's two $30 million receivers. I don't think the Steelers are going to do that. I don't think they're going to do that, and I don't really see Pierce happening. Moving on, number 3. So if you see the little Steelers emblem on there, that means these are guys that I think the Steelers should go after and actually try to sign. And this is my number one guy. This is my number one guy that I think will be a perfect match with DK, and it's Romeo Doubs. 6'2", 204 pounds. He's 25 years old. Um, he's a route runner. He's a route runner. He got the whole package. So he can run any route that you want. He can be that under as DK is taking the top off the defense. Dobbs can be that underneath guy that's going to run whip routes, comebacks, hooks, curls. He's that guy. He's that type of guy. And he's a guy that as a number 2 receiver, he can easily catch 65 to 70 passes, close to 1,000 yards, if not 1,000. And he can open up things for DK Metcalf because now you're not going to be able just to double team Metcalf because Dobbs is he's gonna eat you up underneath. So you're gonna have to play a lot of zone and that type of defense against him. And I think also as far as the contract that he'll get, Dobbs is not going to get a $30 million contract. You're going to have to pay him. You might get 20 or close to 20. He it ain't going to be cheap, but it's not going to be in that $30 million range. And I think that's where the Steelers are definitely not trying to get into, and has $60 million tied up in 2 receivers. So Dobbs is definitely a guy that I'm looking for. As far as I think he's a guy that could definitely come in here and play that number 2 slot. And he's the Green Bay Packers. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are the Green Bay Packers of the East. So everything is associated with the Green Bay Packers. The Steelers is definitely is definitely all about it. So I think with that said, and I don't know, was Dobbs there when Rodgers was there? I'm really not sure. I don't think he could have been. He could have been, but that if he was there when Rodgers was there, that even makes it more viable that he ended up being the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you see, he had 55 receptions for 724 yards, a 13.2 average, 6 touchdowns, along of 48. So this is a guy that I definitely think the Steelers could go after. He's going to be a guy, like I say, he's going to be expensive, but he's not going to be a guy that's going to totally um, break the bank, and he'll be in that price range that I think the Steelers want to play. All right, here go another guy, and you'll see him. You'll see him Sunday. You'll see him Sunday in the Super Bowl. Rashid Shaheed. Now you talking about speed, big time speed. The Steelers actually tried to trade for him, and I think whatever the trade was, the Steelers offered the same package, but they left it up to him, and he turned Pittsburgh down and went out to Seattle to be with his old offensive coordinator. Which I get it, and like I say, at the time, nobody wanted to come play in Arthur Smith's offense, especially as a receiver. So that part of it you won't have to worry about that. And then also he has to know Seattle. That's the thing. That's the only downfall about being in the Super Bowl. And I truly believe Seattle's going to win the Super Bowl. So that's one of the things that being the Super Bowl champs, you can't keep everybody because everybody want to get paid. And he got to know that they're going to have to give his running mate some big money. So Seattle might not want to tie all that money up in the receiver room like that. So he may have to go somewhere else and take a payday. And again, I think this is another guy that will work with he will fit with DK, big time speed, and on top of that, he's a kick returner, and that's something that the Steelers haven't had in years. They have not had just a true kick returner. I don't know how much, especially the type money that you're going to have to give him, because again, he's going to get paid. So he's going to be almost in that $20 million range or close to it. And so I don't know how much, you want to let him return kicks at that point. But he's a guy that fits. I believe 6 foot, 180 pounds, 27 years old. So he's a little older, but not bad. And if you look at his numbers, 59 receptions. This was between Seattle and New Orleans. 59 receptions, 687 yards, 11.6 average, 2 touchdowns, along with 87. So he's going to be a guy. He's going to be that guy that you hit him with a quick slant, hit him with a comeback. Well, not so much a comeback, but you hit him with something quick. You can do little gadget plays with him also. He has that world class speed, and he's gonna bring some things happening. Um, Dwayne say, can we bring back Rock Taylor? Well, you know what? I don't know. I mean, because like I say, it's a new staff now, so I don't know what they feel about Rock Taylor. Like if Tomlin and his staff was still here, I could see that maybe bringing them back to camp because that's something they got a relationship with them. But these new guys, they may not have a relationship with them, and you know how that goes. And unfortunately, I don't know. I don't even know if anybody picked him up. So I think he didn't play football. So that kind of lets you know right there that it might kind of be over for him. You might see him in a UFS, USFL or something like that. But we'll see. The last guy, Juan Jennings. This is another guy that I think will fit with Metcalf. He's 6'3", 212 pounds. Not so much of a route runner, but he's really not the down the field guy either. So he's more of a possession type guy. I don't know how good his route tree really is. His route tree is not the last two guys, but he's a guy that could fit as being that number two. And you know, I think him and Metcalf could really um work together. And his numbers was 55 receptions, 643 yards, 11.7 average, 9 touchdowns, along with 42. But I'm thinking he's probably going to stay in San Francisco because he's really the man there. He's really the man there. So I think he might get a little cash and he might stay where he's at. Now I'm very interested. I'm very interested in Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk would be the perfect situation. He would be the perfect receiver to put on the other side of Metcalf, but as we all know, it's some issues going on with him, and they would have to kind of figure that stuff out, and then also figure out what San Francisco going to do with him because he basically left the team. They still got his rights. They didn't have to pay him. So I don't know if San Francisco just gonna cut ties with him, or they're gonna try to trade him, or how that's gonna have to go. So um, it's a lot of other stuff going on with Brandon Ayuk before you could get him, and then also just where is his mind at this point? I mean, what was going on? Because I mean, you got your money that you wanted, you were the guy. Um, I don't know what happened there. So that's gonna be a whole nother situation. So tight ends. Now the tight ends, the Steelers will not be in this market. But it's a couple of decent guys here if you're looking for a tight end. But the Steelers will not be in this market at all. So I don't look for them to be bringing any of these guys in or even entertaining, signing a tight end. So the number one guy, and I can't believe um, Atlanta even let him get to be a free agent. Excuse me. But the number one guy is Kyle Pitts. Um, I think his his first guy. I mean, his first year, I think he was with Matty Ice, and he had a great year. But then after that, Atlanta quarterback situation kind of went down the drain, and he went down the drain with it. But this is now he's not a blocking tight end. He's basically a big receiver. He's basically a big receiver, but he's 250 pounds. So I can see a lot of teams going after him. I see him probably being the highest paid tight end in NFL history. That's the type deal that he's gonna sign. Do the Falcons bring him back? I mean, because now they have a coach that likes to use the tight ends. And if I'm Kyle Pitts, I'm definitely looking at that situation because um, Stefanski loves the tight ends, and you've seen what they did in Cleveland with their tight ends, and just this past year with a terrible coaching. I mean, with a terrible quarterback situation. Earl Fance Jr., the rookie, he had a breakout major year. So if I'm Kyle Pitts, I'm kind of looking at what's going on in Atlanta, but will they have the money to pay him? That's going to be the issue. So I definitely see Kyle Pitts being one of those guys that as soon as 12:01 by 12:02, Kyle Pitts is gonna have a team. He's gonna be off the market real fast, real fast. And we looking at this. Look at his numbers. Um, 88 receptions, for 928 yards, a 10.4 average, 5 touchdowns, along with 36. So he's gonna get taken off the market real quick. Number two guy, I think is Dallas Gobert. Again, he's old. I shouldn't say old, but he's older. 6'5", 256 pounds. He's 31 years old. What you got there, Yolanda? Yolanda says you cannot have Isaiah Likely. Yeah, I mean, I got him on here. I would love him, but like I say, the Steelers are not going to be in the tight end market. But I have a guy. Just keep your ears open. I have a guy from Baltimore that I think the Steelers may steal from you guys, and we'll talk about that, and maybe it'll come up next week. It'll come up next week. So make sure you pay attention to that because I think this may happen. Um, so older guy, but very, very, very reliable. Catches the ball very well. Probably just because of his age, is probably not going to get a major deal. So, I think a team that's probably thinking a tight end is, they need a tight end to kind of fill everything out on their offense, like a team like a team like the Chargers. A team like the Chargers could go after a guy like this. You know, but you see, he caught 60 balls for 591 yards, a 9.9 average, 11 touchdowns, along with 36. So he's crafty. He's a crafty veteran, and he's he'll be available. I don't know. He may probably end up just going back to Philadelphia because at this point, especially when you get to this point in your career, you really don't want to be bouncing around and all that stuff. So we'll see what happens. My number three guy is Isaiah Likely. The only thing with him, he have to learn how to catch the ball and tuck it away. Uh, he had some bad luck this past season with, was it a catch? Wasn't it not a catch? About to cross the end zone and got the ball knocked out his hand, but very talented, can run after the catch. Um, as you can see, he's 25 years old, 6'4", 245 pounds. I think he's ready to kind of get out the shadow of Mark Andrews. Me personally, if I was the Ravens, I probably would be keeping him and letting Andrews go at this point. And I know Andrews is still a good player, but I think I would take the younger guy, and roll with him. But I can see Likely definitely, if he gets out there, if the Ravens let him get out there, he's probably not going to come back. So somebody's going to give him a decent contract, and oh, you just extended Andrew, so yeah, he's gone. Then if that's the case, the Ravens and tied and hitched their wagon to Andrews if they just extended him. So yeah, Likely is most likely out of there. So I don't know. I kind of would took the younger guy. Like I say, he just got some issues of tucking the ball away, but he's probably one of the best, run after catches tight ends that's out here right now. So I guess I'm not gonna be mad because it seems like he always make plays against the Steelers. I want to keep Likely, but it might not happen. No, it's not gonna happen now. If they extended Andrews, it's definitely not gonna happen. They go they're gonna have to let him go because he's gonna be able to get a nice little deal somewhere. And so we look at his numbers again. A lot of times you can't go just by the numbers because he shared the spotlight with Andrews with 27 receptions for 307 yards, 11.4 average, one touchdown, long of 43. So he's a guy that's going to be out of there, I think. David Nujenko. Now, this guy here dealt with a lot of injuries. I don't know. He's 29 years old, so he's not really super old. If he can get it back, now I truly believe he's going to end up in Atlanta. I think he's going to take Kyle Pitts' place because they can get him a little cheaper than what Pitts is going to cost, and he's going to go back with his old coach. Believe it or not, he may be the number one run after catch. Tight end screens for some reason. I don't understand. I don't know if it's something that the Browns scheme up very well or what, but he is devastating on a tight end screen. Kind of his hands he got those frustrated hands. He'll drop the balls, easy passes that you think he should catch easily, and then he'll catch the hard ones. He's not very consistent. Sometimes it seems like he's more interested in walking around with his shirt off than playing football. So it would just be one of those situations, what you need, but you can I still think he got some tread on his tires, I guess you could say. So when you look at his numbers, and again, this was a terrible offense. He only caught 33 passes for 293 yards, an 8.9 average, 4 touchdowns, a longer 23. He actually pretty much had lost his position to a rookie. And like I said, he had some injuries. So if he's healthy, this is a mid-level guy that you can get him with a mid-level contract, nothing too crazy. And if he's right, you can get about good 2 years out of him. So I truly believe to see him in Atlanta, taking Kyle Pitts spot when he rolls out. So, and the last guy, Travis Kelce. Very simple with Travis. And honestly, Travis is really not even, I mean, he a free agent, but he ain't going anywhere. Either three things is going to happen with Kelce, and one of them is is I guess you could say a pipe dream, but I think it's something he would do if he had to change teams. Obviously, either A, he's going to retire, which I'm thinking that's what's going to happen because his boy, homeboy, he got the knee injury, so I don't know if he's even going to be ready for the beginning of the year. So I don't think Travis want to really deal with that. He got a big marriage coming up. So me personally, I believe Travis is going to retire. And so that's the first option. Second option is obviously if he decides to play, he's going to stay in Kansas City. He's not going nowhere. And his third option would be if he had to change teams, he's only going to play for one other team, and that's going to be his hometown Cleveland Browns. And he ain't coming back to the Browns. So those his three options. And for people that don't know, I used to coach high school football, and Travis Kelce was our When we went over to Cleveland Heights, he was our quarterback his senior year. So and I got to get with Travis because he has a jersey for me that I need to get, especially before he gets out the league. So I gotta work that out with him. But yeah, just knowing him, he ain't. I truly believe he's gonna retire. Um, but if he doesn't retire, he's going back to Kansas City. And if he had to play for another team, it would be the Cleveland Browns. He would come back home and finish it off here. And I don't see that happening either. So basically, he's going to retire or he's going to be back with the Chiefs. But with that said, he had great numbers last year. 76 receptions, 851 yards, 11.2 average, of 5 touchdowns, along with 44. But with Mahomes being hurt, now if Mahomes can, because these ACL injuries are, they got these things down packed now. So guys don't, before that was a year, you was a year out, before you could go back and play. But now they do so many of these surgeries now. Guys like they getting back real fast. So if Mahomes can get back before the beginning of the season, that may make him decide to come back and run it back one more year with him. But if it's a situation where Mahomes is not going to be back, halfway through the year or miss 5 or 6 games, I don't see Travis really hanging around for that. And I think he's gonna move on to bigger and better things that he got planned, for himself and he got going on. So with that said, that's it for the wide receivers and tight ends. And we'll be doing what we got next. We got the offensive tackles and offensive guards and the centers. We're gonna put all three of those together. We'll put those positions together, and that'll be it. That'll be it for the offense, and then we'll do kickers and punters, and then from there we'll go on to the defense. So with that said, that is it. You guys enjoy your weekend. For us, we're getting dumped with some snow again. I mean, I can't take it no more. This is just it's depressing. I mean, you get a storm, you clean your driveway out, finally get everything cleared, and you get dumped for more snow. And I know back in the day we used to get this type of snow, but we ain't got soft and we ain't used to this no more. We got a salt shortage, so they not even. I mean, they plowing some of the road, the main roads. They're plowing and putting salt down. The other roads, secondary roads, you get lucky if they get plowed, and they do plow them. They're just plowing them, not putting salt down, so they plowing down to the ice. It's just very diabolical out here right now, and it's cold. That's the thing. Like I could, everybody hates the snow. I hate the snow, but this cold, man, is just something else, and it's aching my bones. So, with that said, you guys take care. Enjoy the Super Bowl. I might as well let you know my pick is the Seattle Seahawks. I think they're going to kind of put it to New England, and I can see at least a 10-point victory. Um, so have a good time. Don't have too many adult cocktails at your Super Bowl party. Be safe out there. Stay warm. And I'll talk to you guys later. All right. Bye bye.